All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get started. We've hit the over 50 mark, so we'll go ahead and go. We'll get some people joining as we get going here as well. But thank you so much for coming. First of all, hope everyone is safe, doing well, and is extremely busy and rocking and rolling out there. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about SBA loans and insurance, kind of financial relief. There's a lot of information out there and a lot of questions. And so we brought on two experts today to really help us guide us through this. And hopefully we'll help your businesses and help you guys be successful during this time. So with us today, we have Jeff Hildebrandt. He's the vice president with Live Oak Bank. Is the largest SBA lender in the country. He has over 15 years of experience in business and commercial lending and is really cool as a state approved SBA finance instructor. So you can actually take a class with Jeff, is that right? And get credits?
Yeah, you can get 3 hours worth of CE credit on SBA commercial financing.
Love it. So if you want more information about that, reach out to Jeff directly. So Jeff's going to be talking about SBA loans. We also have Ben Jonas. He's the vice president of, is it HUB or Hub?
It's Hub International, that's right.
Perfect. So Hub International Services, International Insurance Services, focuses on commercial and specialty insurance. And Ben, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Jeff, thank you so much. And Casey, shout out to you for putting everything on today. Thanks for coordinating. You can find any more information and links. We'll be sending email with a lot of links after this to everyone. So you guys will have those. Don't feel like you have to scramble and write them down. We'll get all those to you. Also, the SBAOR.org website under COVID-19 has a lot of great information. So please click that out. Check those out. And then next week, we are planning our third part in our speaker series on Zoom, which will be an update from the city. And we're working on getting some people locked down for that and some questions out that will help you guys in regards to what's happening with Santa Barbara City behind the scenes, and hopefully those will help your clients out as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. Jeff's going to hit the first part here, and then we'll have Ben go through. If you guys have any questions, please post in the comments. We will see those chats. Casey will be kind of moderating that. We'll make sure we get your questions out. And again, we'll be sending an email out to everyone as well at the end of this. So Jeff, let's go ahead and jump into it. There's free money out there. Everybody wants it. What are some of the SBA eligibility and qualifying requirements?
Thanks, Todd. Yeah, I mean, there's normal SBA 7A loans that are kind of on hold right now. So the programs are available through the Small Business Administration are really two different programs. One's called the Paycheck Protection Program Loan, or PPP for short. So everybody's heard of that one. And that's through banks. So you'd have to go to your own bank. Live Oak, we're a big funder of these. So you'd have to go to a bank to apply for these PPP loans, and I'll get into that a little bit. But the second one is called the EIDL loan, and that stands for the Emergency Injury Disaster Loan. And that's something directly through the SBA. So you would go to SBA.gov. That's the website you'd go to. Right on the front page is apply online for that. So those are the two programs that are available in the marketplace at the moment. There's some other bills pending in Washington, D.C. right now that could add some different things. But right now, those are the two main ones that that business folks can go after.
And how would you apply for those, Jeff?
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, there's the PPP loan is an application for the bank. So we have a three-page application, and some of the things you'd have to submit would be like your articles of incorporation. If you're a new customer to a bank, EIN verification, and really it's a payroll protection program. So they're looking for a payroll. So if you're an employer, you'd be submitting your 941s for last year, 4 quarters of the 941s, and that calculation will be the loan amount, how much you can get would be a calculation of that number. Or if you're a sole proprietor, and many of the real estate agents are probably in that position, then they'd be looking at like 1099s and sole proprietor income for the PPP loan. So that would be a hard application through the bank. The SBA.gov website for the EIDL loan is real simple, because you just go to the website, click apply, and then you just do that right online, and you'd upload the documents directly through the SBA for that one.
Okay.
So
So,
both are pretty simple. It's not complicated.
and then for people looking into kind of how much they can get from this, how much can you get from one of these SBA loans?
I'll just give you an example. We have a loan calculator, and on the form that we use as part of our applications, one of the 3 application forms, is a loan calculator built in there. I'll send that to Casey, and she can upload that to folks so they can play around with that. But it's really going to be a function of the payroll. So they take the annual payroll, divide it by 12, and then multiply that number times 2.5. So just as an example, if your annual payroll is 120,000, divided by 12 would be 10,000, and then times 2.5 would be $25,000 loan amount. So it's not a long-term type of situation loan. It's just to cover these next 2.5 months where they're saying, well, COVID might be over, so at least the people can be employed and get paid instead of going on unemployment.
Yeah, that'd be good. And
You know
so
what I mean?
I've heard this question quite a bit, and thank you guys for putting your questions in the chat. We're going to go ahead and get to all those. So I really appreciate that. We got a ton of questions coming in, so keep those going. For 2019 tax return, do you need to have that submitted in order to apply?
Not necessarily, because IRS is shut down, and I think they've given them whatever it is, a 3 or 6 month extension on even filing the 2019. So it could be if you're, but what our bank is looking for a Schedule C, at least a draft version. So if you are a 1040 filer with the Schedule C as a sole proprietorship, for example, then they want to see the draft version of that Schedule C, and then maybe a bank statement or 2 just to verify that the account you're using is actually used for business, because it's geared for businesses, not just personal use.
Right. So there's been some kind of not a lot of clarity between the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, and then our Economic Injury Disaster Loan, the EIDL. Can you give some clarification on those?
Yeah, so like I said, 2 separate things, PPP through banks, EIDL loan through the SBA. So that would be one big difference. You can't go to the bank to get the EIDL loan. EIDL loan is directly through the SBA because it's part of their disaster relief loans. Like if a hurricane hits, you have to go through the SBA for disaster relief for that type of loan. So that EIDL loan, you can't call your bank for the EIDL loans. That EIDL loan is through the SBA. So that's one big difference. Bank, PPP, EIDL loan, SBA. The second difference is the loan amount. The PPP loan goes up to $10 million, but it only covers up to $100,000 worth of salary of wages. So if somebody's making $250,000, the 150 above the 100 would be excluded from the loan calculation. So it only covers payroll up to $100,000 per person. And that's because the PPP loan is forgivable. If you meet the requirements after 8 weeks, that's free money. All the loan is forgiven. The EIDL loan has different requirements and larger loan amounts, so that goes up to about 10 million. But that's not forgivable. That turns into either a 15 or a 30-year loan at 3 or 4, maybe 4.5% interest rate. So those are some big differences. One's forgivable, one's not forgivable. One's through the banks, one's directly through the SBA.
Okay. So you hit the parts that are forgivable or not, and then how about any updates on like a second wave, right? Because we've all heard that this second wave of money's coming out. What's your thoughts on that?
You better be a good surfer because the waves coming in literally. So here's the update of this morning. So the first round, 3 weeks ago, literally, I think it was about 2.5 weeks exhausted. So 350 billion down to 0. So that's a lot of money on the streets.
Yeah.
So the second round, 310 billion. 30 billion was set aside just for small banks, like a bank has under $20 billion in assets. There's $30 billion set aside, so all the big banks don't gobble up all the money so quickly. But here's of this morning. So it was just released yesterday. So just what I'm talking about is when I say released, everybody could have been taking a loan application at your bank. Not until yesterday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time is when the SBA system opens up, where the banks can go in and start getting this loan authorization number, which gives the guarantee of the funds to that business. So as of yesterday until this morning, $60 billion was already taken down out of the 310 billion. And they're saying, maybe by mid next week, this will be exhausted pretty quickly. Just to give you our numbers, I don't know what other banks' numbers, but so far we've pulled authorizations for 1,300 loans. That's a $404 million value, with 51,000 employees impacted. So we're doing our part here, and we care.
Wow. So can you talk about, this is one of the questions here, but it's also on mine as well, the PUA relief, and then also can you receive PPP and PUA relief together?
You know what, I mean, I haven't seen the PUA relief. What's that one, Tom?
That might be on Ben's side. Ben, is that yours? Let me unmute you here.
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll jump into that with Ben. So how about, Ben, you might know this. Can you get PPP and PUA at the same time?
I don't believe you can. And keep in mind, everyone, that it's such a fluid situation and things are moving so quickly. But that said, thanks to our chief compliance officer, the consensus that I have is that you cannot secure a PPP loan and also be eligible for the pandemic unemployment assistance benefits. Now, everyone is going to have to speak to their financial advisor, their CPA, to get the best advice. But that was kind of our understanding on that issue. And I saw that on uschamber.com. I'll share some of my resources also, and in other places.
Okay, thank you for that. And then I guess the last thing, and then we'll get to a bunch of the questions here. For you, Ben, the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, right? The PUA.
Yes.
What's the eligibility and benefits to that? So let's kind of back up a little bit and go through what would you need to get that?
Okay, so I think the primary resource, and I'm seeing that here in the comments, that people are already going to the EDD website, and that's a good thing. That is absolutely the best resource available. You are going to apply online for them, and this is under the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, and so benefits now is what we're seeing is going to be extended to those 1099 independent contractors. There's some key points that I found on their website that I wanted to share with everyone as they consider whether or not, receiving benefits is right for them and how it's going to work. So the first point is that benefits are going to be retroactive. They're going to be looking back to February 2nd, right? So if you were impacted as of COVID going back to February, the first phase, and this is kind of transitioning topics a little bit, is that, the payments are going to be meted out in 3 phases for the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. So it's going to be weekly benefits paid out at $167 a week over 3 phases, beginning from February 2nd and ending in December 26th. So we're looking at, over the calendar year, as people apply for benefits, depending on how they've been impacted, they will be eligible for up to 3 phases of benefits going up to the end of the year. The eligibility requirements for the PUA are business owners, self-employed individuals, and independent contractors. So I think that covers the core question, Todd. What are the benefits here and who's eligible for it? Whether or not it's right for you is something you're going to have to ascertain and work with your financial advisor on.
Right. And you may have covered this, but where would you go to get that?
Yeah, thank you. We can't stress that enough. So it's all about working with the EDD. You're going to do it online via their portal. And I am seeing, some frustration here that folks are getting locked out or that the EDD website is closed. Yeah. So couple things to that. And I don't work for the EDD. I'm an insurance broker who specializes in unemployment insurance solutions for nonprofits all across the country. So that's kind of how I got to SBAOR today, with some of that expertise. But what I'm seeing, and having spoken with the EDD, is that claims available for the PUA are starting today. And my guess is that they're being inundated, that the website is just overwhelmed, and things are just being broken down. So as the EDD, and this is unprecedented, it's great people over there, they're doing their best. It's just, it's just unprecedented. So be patient. I would keep your eye on it. And I think it's always important to have your files in order, right? So you want to be able to demonstrate, your personal income, to be able to have stuff into place to make that process easy as possible.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Ben. So let's just jump into some questions. So Phil, I saw your question about being kicked off of all EDD online applications again. Speaking to your point, Ben, it sounds like they're just kind of getting overwhelmed.
Yeah. And I think yesterday I saw on their website that it may have been a construction period, as they're doing updates or stuff. Again, it's redundant, but just do your best to be patient and keep at it. The website is the place to file your claim and to work it.
Okay. Jeff, this is for you. According to NAR, can we apply to the PPP even if we just ran our business through our personal account? So if you don't have a business bank account, that was another question as well. So I'll just kind of put those two together.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, in the end, the way we're doing that is, for a sole proprietorship that doesn't have a business account, they just do a DBA, and they don't really have a business account. Like I said, they would just need to provide 1 or 2 bank statements from that account, verifying that, yes, the account is used for business. Maybe it's commissions are flowing into there or something to that effect.
Yeah. I will say a business account is so nice to have versus just for tax reasons. But
it's helpful for many reasons.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But it sounds like you can do it through a personal account.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Someone asked a question. I haven't seen an apply button on SBA.gov yet. Is there one?
If you just go into SBA.gov, I haven't looked at it here in the last couple of days. They move it around. It's a fluid situation. So you just have to maybe search idle, or I think it's SBA .gov/COVID-19, with 10 letters behind it. It's government work.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we can send the link out in our follow-up email for that as well.
I have the link, so I'll send it to Casey, and then she can distribute it.
Perfect. So Allison asked, I've been told the max is $100,000 in income.
Yeah. So like I said, it's for it's not for billionaires out there. So it's for small businesses. So it's up to $100,000 worth of wages. So like I said, if
Right.
you're making $250,000, or if you have a number of people in your business are making above $100,000, everybody can get a benefit up to $100,000 for the loan calculation. Anything above that $100,000 is excluded from the actual loan calculation. So
Okay.
you're eligible even if you're making $1 million. $900,000 would be excluded, and then you just have the $100,000 for your for that individual person would be included in the loan calculation.
Can you get an SBA loan if you're not banking with that institution?
It just depends on the banks. If this was a week earlier, I would say, hey, we're open for business. Send us applications. But right now, we're just at full capacity.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that'll open. But some banks are still accepting applications from non-customers. You just have to kind of hunt those down.
Okay.
I know that I was on the Orange County SBA webinar a couple weeks ago. So if you contact them, actually, I have a copy of it. I'll send it up there. There are some banks that are in California, Southern California here, that are still accepting, applications from non-customers.
Okay. This is a good one too, because I have the same question. If you applied for an EIDL loan in early April and you never received any money, you never heard anything back, do you do another application? Do you reapply?
Yeah, I mean, it's a toughie. I mean, how many applications they get over the last month? I mean, 10 million, literally. I mean, I think in the first week they got 600,000, and it's a government. So what do they have? Probably 200 people in Washington, D.C. working on them.
Right.
So it's just, it's a waiting time. I mean, it's a total mess. I mean, it's,
Yep. Can you apply for at more than one bank?
It's a toughie. I mean, just this morning, we're getting the results back that many of the customers that were that had put an application in. So what happens is the application comes into the bank. Somebody at the bank, when that system opens, has to sit there and get enter the information into this called an E-Tran system. So if you put your application at Wells Fargo or some other big box bank, Live Oak Bank, whoever gets there first with that E-Tran number receives that loan authorization number from the SBA.
Okay.
The loan is going to be done through that bank because you only have one PPP loan. So it kind of messes up the system. Pretty much you'd want to work with one bank and get it through and stay with that. Having 3 or 4, 10 applications out there doesn't help the situation because only one bank can get it.
Okay. And for real estate professionals, just the question is, I guess, do we do the EIDL, the SBA, the PUA, all of them?
I mean, we're self-isolation. It's a mess out here. I mean, I'd be pulling every string I can. That's what I recommend. I mean, you got to try everything nowadays. I mean, don't leave any stone unturned, literally. So, I mean, you can, I don't know the other ones, but I know EIDL and PPP. You can have both, and this is a direction from the SBA, but you can't use it for. It has to be used for different purposes. So if you're using the PPP loan for payroll, which is the intent of the program, payroll protection, you can still get an EIDL loan, but that EIDL loan would have to be used something other than for, say, payroll, for example. So, but yeah, I mean, look, I mean, hey, Trump is getting free food at the White House, right?
Go for it, right?
So you have to go for everything you can.
Ben, for you, the PUA is additional $600 a week from federal available. That was a question.
Yeah, thank you. I just did a quick, there's so much information there, so I apologize. So I just did a quick research. That's absolutely right, Jacqueline. Great question. I'm reminded of that. There is an additional $600. It's available through the CARES Act. Okay, so the EDD, again, is the best place for this information. And what it says is that only the weeks of a claim between March 29th and July 25th. So it's going to be that window, that middle window, where people are going to be eligible for that extra $600 payment, and it's a weekly benefit. As to how you apply for it, I don't know. I don't have, and I'll do some work. I can do some research for you if you want to follow up with me. But my guess would be is that the EDD is going to offer people the opportunity to apply for those specific benefits, and then they will, per usual, make a determination on a case-by-case basis. But it is absolutely available. And to Jeff's point, I think it's great to leave every stone, or to turn over every stone fundamentally.
Mm-hmm. And then this is a good question. I mean, I think a lot of people are thinking about this. I know with forgiveness, and people are looking at forbearance on their mortgages and how that's going to affect maybe their credit. If the loan is forgiven, will this affect their credit, Jeff?
No. So what happens is, and this is a document we send that out, and like I said, I'll upload this to Casey. This has about a 2-page document about the forgiveness of the loan.
Okay.
So a couple things is, for the first 6 months, there's no payment on the loan, because I'm talking about the PPP loan. Right. So it's a 24-month loan, 2-year loan. First 6 months, there's no payment because the SBA is actually making the payment to the banks. So that doesn't affect your credit at all. Even though there's no payment, the payments are being made. Secondly, is after this 6 months, and actually after the first, so what you have to do is the loan funds, if the loan funded today, 8 weeks from today, you're going to provide documentation to the bank saying, yeah, I spent 75% of the money on payroll. I spent the other 25% on rent, utilities, interest on loans, for example. You provide the proof documentation to your bank. If it all is satisfactory, the loan's forgiven. So no loan payment, nothing on your credit, it's zeroed out. Whatever is not forgiven turns into an 18-month 1% interest rate loan, principal and interest. So if your loan was, say, whatever, $100,000, and you spent $75,000 on eligible expenses, the remaining $25,000 just turns into an 18-month P&I loan at 1%. Now, if you stop making a payment on that for some reason, then there could be a hit to the credit, just like anything else. But
Yep.
if it's all forgiven, no harm, no foul.
Okay, sounds good.
It is, yeah.
Well, that's all the questions we have today. Hope this helped you guys kind of get a little bit better, clear understanding between all of this activity and free money and options that are floating around. We'll have some follow-up emails that go out. Jeff, you want to give any closing remarks here?
Look, our motto at Live Oak Bank is to treat every customer like the only customer. So if there's, somebody needs help out there, if we can help them internally, we'll do it. If nothing else, I can give you the advice and push, get you in the right direction. At this point, it's just, people helping people,
Yeah, no, definitely. Ben, anything from you?
No, it's very much the same. If I can help out in some fashion, please let me know. I'm happy to do so. And thank you for having me on. That was fun.
Yeah, Ben, thank you so much. Jeff, thank you again for your time. Realtors out there, thank you guys for tuning in and checking us out. We had 75 people on today, so fantastic information that was disseminated. Thank you guys so much for your questions. It really helps everybody out when you guys ask those questions. Casey, again, coordinating everything has been amazing. And have a great day, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, all.